years ago and putting it on YouTube. So our audience was really underserved. So they were very like forgiving and very grateful that we were trying and putting a lot out. So the comments were not really about like if I was uncomfortable, right? The comments were more so like, thank you for showing us that game or that highlight. And then I was also not on my own. Like Samir said, we were becoming friends and figuring out who each other were on camera. So if we made each other laugh, like that showed up on camera and that was very authentic, right? It's hard to be someone else or be someone you're not when someone is next to you on camera who knows who you are off camera.
Yeah.
Right? Like the second you portrayed yourself as someone that you are not, even if it's just like portrayed yourself as awkward, he's going to laugh or call it out. Also, so that was like a helpful way to do it.
Yeah.
And we made, YouTube back then was very different. We were putting out multiple videos a day.
Yeah.
So there was no time really to like think about it. And I was getting so many reps at being on camera.
Yeah, that's an important point. Is at first you suck, but if you keep doing it, you make small improvements. Eventually you get pretty good at, or at least comfortable enough doing it.
It felt very safe. Like I didn't feel like my friends from high school were watching these videos because they weren't.
Yeah.
Right? Like lacrosse fans were watching it. So it felt like a safe place to experiment.
I do think the point there is really, really important. Like targeting a very specific audience with a very specific value proposition to the content makes it feel safer, because you know who you are trying to reach and you know why they would watch. So there's like unbelievably simple question in YouTube that some people forget to ask. We've forgotten to ask it to ourselves, but it's the most common thing that people forget to ask. Who is this for and why would they watch? Those are the two questions you have to, before you do anything. It's like, who is this video for and why are they watching? And you have to answer those questions, because
who is this for? And why are they watching? Pretty good questions by Colin and Samir. They've been at it for a decade, and they know a little bit about what it means to be a YouTuber. Though we're still struggling. We're still trying to find our way. We're still trying to figure it out. My name is Mitch, by the way. We're here live streaming twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, beginning at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we talk about social media and YouTubing and all that kind of good stuff. Thanks for being with us, and today we're going to talk about vlogging, how vlogging is making a comeback. So it's interesting to look back and see what YouTube was like in the old days, back when it was first beginning. Colin and Samir began making YouTube videos about lacrosse, and they had a lacrosse show, a lacrosse TV. They ran it like a TV show and were making videos about lacrosse. But can you imagine what kind of an audience they had? How many lacrosse players are there? Couldn't be that many, right? I mean, goodness gracious, lacrosse? I mean, really? Are you kidding me? But anyway, after a decade, they've really come full circle and are among the top YouTubers now operating. So it's an amazing story they have. What we're doing today, we're talking about vlogging, and vlogging is making a comeback and all that kind of good stuff. And I don't know, we're just sort of hanging out here at the coffee shop trying to figure out what else is going on in terms of the world of YouTube. I mean, it's all sort of a crapshoot, don't you think? Is there a rhyme or reason to all this content creation? Is there any way to know for sure how you're going to get viewers or subs or monetized? I mean, is there really any specific method? 1, 2, 3? Is there any sort of I mean, if it was easy and if it was that simple, everyone would be doing it. Everyone would be monetized, but we all know that's not the case. So there's a certain amount of serendipity involved here, certain amount of magic, things that we can't really explain on why some YouTube channels take off and get monetized quickly and others it takes years, if not decades, to actually have an impact. So it just takes a lot of work, and it takes consistency, and it just takes doing the job, just like any other job. I mean, if you're going to take YouTube seriously, you're going to have to put in the work, put in the chops. So I began these live streams back in November of last year, and I guess I haven't counted, but I think we're probably in the 50s in terms of the number of live streams, maybe 56, 55, 56, 57, something like that. I'll have to do some backtracking and see just exactly how many we've done. But we've come a long way since those early days. I can look back in October and November of last year and see those first live streams and how much we struggled and how we're still struggling today. I mean, let me get to 100. Let me get to 100 live streams, and then we'll see kind of where we're at and how we're doing. So I hope you'll stay with me, stay along for the ride. If you're dropping in, feel free to jump into chat. We can talk and discuss anything you want to talk about, especially if it's social media or YouTube related. That's why we're here. We're here to help each other grow our YouTube channels and do what we can to grow. Well, let's jump right into this idea of the vlog. And as I said, vlogging is back. So what are we talking about exactly? Well, the idea of the vlog is, the video log. Back in the early days of YouTube, vlogging was more about turning on your camera and just recording your day. Content creators were, showing their daily lives. And a lot of that you see today as well is just turning on the camera and going about the day and doing some editing and adding some music and basically just showing your activity throughout the day. And it got kind of old, and vlogging went away for a while. The popularity started to drop. It was about the time when shorts, with Instagram and TikTok and all of that, started to take off, and shorts became the thing. And now stinking YouTube shoves shorts down our throats. Even today, they are emphasizing shorts. But the problem with shorts is people have started to get tired of it. It's sort of like fatigue. It's sort of like, how much of this 60-second stuff can we take? I mean, you look at TikTok, and it's just like a big brain squeeze. And I think there's a certain amount of fatigue taken in. And so many content creators are saying that in 2026, this next year, vlogging is going to come back. And vlogging is going to make a return. People are desiring more depth. They're looking for long-form videos now as opposed to shorts. And a big part of that is because YouTube has moved into the living room, and more people are watching now by TV than ever before. It's a growing trend that YouTube is becoming consumed more by the home TV set, the flat screen TV. And so shorts are not really suited for someone sitting on their couch and watching their flat screen TV. They're looking more for long form content, more like episodic content, time that lasts at, we're talking about 20, 30 minutes, like a TV show. So since this idea of the long form becoming much more desirable in the coming months, it has seen the reemergence of the vlog, of the long form video, where you're basically expressing yourself and basically showing your life and demonstrating your life, showing your life on TV, basically, is what it's boiling down to. It's the bringing reality TV back to life. This idea of the vlog. It's a less of an emphasis on a Mr. Beast type of approach where you're inundated with the excitement and the game show atmosphere and the edits and the music and the loudness. It's sort of taking a different approach. It's getting away from the extreme game show type quality of a Mr. Beast and going back to a much more subdued, easygoing, laid-back approach. And it's because of this this fatigue that people have with all of the highly produced short videos and the approach that the shorts have had. And it's just, people are just tired of it. And there's becoming a longing, a desire more for long-form content. And two, the algorithm has picked up on this on YouTube in the sense that it's now more about interest rather than social. It's more about pushing content toward viewers based on what they're interested in. It's no longer about emphasizing who you watch in terms of your subscriptions or who you follow. It's not about subs anymore. It's more about interest. And so that's giving the reemergence of the vlog some momentum, because when you're doing a vlog, you're showing your interest. You're showing what you're interested in, and you're sort of trying to share with an audience things that are real, things that are of interest, and you're not necessarily just trying to build a following. You're not trying to build a fandom. You're not trying to engage a lot of people into becoming fans. You're more interested in serving the audience and trying to discover what they're interested in. And it's not going to be for everybody. You're not trying to reach everybody. You're just trying to reach people who are like you and are interested in the same things that you're interested in. So vlogging in this day and age is about a specific interest. You're showing your feelings and your opinions about a particular topic, and if it's a good video and it does a good job of describing and showing this interest, then it will be pushed to an audience that has interest, similar interest. And they may or may not be subscribers to your channel. So things are changing. Short form, I've taken some notes here, by the way. This is my hand scratching that I've been making here. Short form fatigue is what's feeding this whole reemergence of the vlog. People are just tired. They're tired of all of the sensationalism, and there's a desire for more depth. People are looking for meaning. They want to discover things that are real. They want to go deep. And so when we're thinking about the future, when we're thinking about 2026 and the videos for this next year, we want to think about going deep and narrow rather than shallow and wide. That means we want to really niche down. We really want to take a deep dive into whatever topic we're dealing with in a particular video. We really need to narrow down our topic and just really take a specific topic and just really dig into it and take our time trying to share our feelings and our opinions about that particular topic, as opposed to just having a channel that is so wide focused and so shallow and just hitting the surface of a lot of different topics. We really want to go in deep. We want to be like deep sea divers and going to the depths of the ocean in our dealing with topics. I drew a little diagram here. It helps clarify in my mind kind of what I'm talking about. When we think about trends are trends because they come and go. You have something that is a trend, like shorts. People will say shorts are a trend. And at some point, that trend becomes sort of dead in the water. People get tired of it. There's a fatigue that sets in. And then there's a counter trend that takes its place. And the counter trend begins to take hold. And once it becomes strong, then it becomes a trend. And then the fatigue, and then the cycle repeats. So the idea here is, if shorts is a trend and have been very popular and are still being pushed to us ad nauseum from TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, if all of this stuff, if these shorts are being stuffed down our throats and we've reached a certain point of fatigue, then what's the counter trend? What's the counter to that? Well, it's the long form. It's the depth of a topic, the meaning of a topic. And instead of a 60-second instead of a 60-second blurb about something, we're going to look at a 30-minute or 40-minute treatment of a particular topic. So it's all about a particular video. It's not about the subs. It's not about your following. It's not about your fans. It's about what people are interested in. That's what we're dealing with here. So, vlogging in the future, vlogging this next year, we're talking about narrowing down our topic, being specific, and understanding that any video at any time can go viral. You can have 0 subs. You can have 5 subs. You can have 15 subs, and you can produce a good video that may pull in 100K or more views. It can go viral. So that's the day we're living in. It's no longer about the number of subs. It's more about making good videos that are interesting to people, that people are interested in. As I said in the old days, the old vlogs, they were sort of behind the scenes, showing the reality of a person's day. They would film it all day. It was sort of a day in the life idea, and then they would edit that thing down. They would go in and take all of that video down, they would edit it down into a short 15, 20-minute video showing everything they did that day. That's the old style. The new style is more specific. One topic, one interest, and not the whole day. Now, if you look at van life, for example, I've got another channel, Mitch and his van, and it's about van life. People that live in their vans full time and travel the country, and they make YouTube videos about their adventures. A lot of them are still using the old method. They show an entire day or an entire week of their adventure in a van, and then we'll edit that thing down and make one video, and it will take up everything that they've done that day, or even 2 or 3 days, and they'll narrow it down and make one video. Well, the new way of doing a vlog, or a new approach, is instead of doing an entire day, you pick one specific topic, one specific event that happened in that day, and that's what you concentrate on. You concentrate on one specific topic. Instead of the entire day, maybe you spend the 20 or 30 minutes about your trip to the grocery store. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how am I going to spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes talking about my trip to the grocery store? Well, that's where we're talking about taking a deep dive. You really go deep into the meal you're preparing, the food that you buy, your budget, the grocery store itself, where you're located, all of that kind of stuff. You really are going beyond just the surface. You're really going down deep, and you're going to talk about that specific part of your day rather than the entire day. That's what we're talking about here, is taking a more specific, narrow approach to vlogging. And it's not as hard as you think. You can spend 20 minutes really quick when you start talking about things that you do during the day. It's just like if you're sitting at the coffee table across from a friend, and you and your friend are talking about what you do during the day. You know, you may find yourself talking about a person you met and talk about them for 10 or 15 minutes. So it's becoming much more of a specific and real conversation with people rather than being so broad and based in terms of the whole day. So here we're talking about sorry, my Apple Pencil just went out on me. Too bad. But this is what we're talking about here, is the 3 things that we need to think about. I know I'm going through a lot of stuff here, but I want to get this out, get it done, so that you and I can get back to work and start making some content. Let's see if we can make us a vlog this next week. These are the 3 things we need to think about. Theme of the channel. You want an overarching theme for your channel. So what's it going to be? It's got to be specific. We're talking about the niche here. Talking about niching down and getting a specific theme for your channel. And then when you're making a video that you're going to upload to that channel, you're going to find yourself a topic, one specific topic. And you want to know the takeaway is what is good for the viewer. What's the viewer going to take away from this particular topic? How's it going to help them? And then once you decide on your topic, you're going to try to put it in the form of a story. Tell stories about your personal experience based on that topic, or what's going on in terms of a storyline that involves you. It's got this personal touch. When you tell stories, you know, it brings in the idea of you personally. Nobody can tell the same stories that you can tell. It makes you unique. That's how you can stay unique on YouTube, is by telling stories about your own personal experience. And so that's a pretty basic 3-point structure that you can use. Decide on the theme of your channel, come up with a topic, and decide what the takeaway is for the viewer. How's the viewer going to benefit from that particular topic? And then you're going to try to tell a narrative. You're going to try to put it in the form of a story. And it's going to be a story that is personal, has your experience tied to it, and it's going to work because it's unique. It's going to be real to you. The other thing here we want to remind ourselves is that reality, real stuff, will always beat perfection. If you're waiting to make the perfect video before you post anything, then you're missing the boat. The idea here is that being real, being who you are, is much more important than being perfect. I mean, just look at me. As you can tell by looking at this live stream, I am far from perfect. I mean, I'm stumbling all over myself in terms of trying to describe what I'm feeling about this idea of vlogging that's going to take hold in 2026. It's going to make a resurgence. It's going to come back and be more popular. And so it's reality. It's the way you feel, your opinions, the way you talk, the mistakes you make. That's always going to be more approachable and more attractive than being perfect. So if you're waiting for perfection, you're missing the boat. Perfection can limit progress. So don't work for perfect. Work for real. Work for reality. Try to do the best you can. Be the best content creator you can, but understand that perfection is impossible. How many times are you going to retake that scene because you missed or flubbed up or made a mistake? How many edits are you going to make? How much time are you going to spend editing videos to get rid of all the imperfections? At some point, you just got to move ahead, and you just got to keep going. The other thing here that I made a note of that I thought about is that I've always thought this, that audio is more important than video, because especially in this day and age, people want to hear what you have to say, not necessarily see you say it. They're more interested in hearing you and not necessarily seeing you. Now, I know YouTube is a visual medium. We want to not underplay the importance of the visual. But I guarantee you, if viewers are like me, if the audio is good, if the audio is decent, I can pretty much enjoy that video even if the visuals are poor. I've got to have good sounding audio. If the audio sucks, then the visuals are not going to be any good. The visuals are not going to be strong enough to maintain my retention. I'm not going to sit and watch a video that's beautiful if the audio is just horrible. Because the information is basically conveyed through our speaking voice. It's still through our audio that we are making progress through the video. So it behooves us to concentrate on the quality of the video and do it the best we can with the visuals. Does that make sense? That's why I've spent so much time coming from a live location trying to improve the audio to the best I can based on the noise and the stuff that I have to deal with in a live location. Now, yeah, it'd be great if I was in a quiet office somewhere, perhaps. The audio would certainly be better. But part of my dynamic, part of my purpose in doing this live stream is to come from a public location. From the very beginning, I always wanted to go live from a public location. I want to be among real people. I don't want to be hiding in my office. I don't want to be hiding in a studio that's perfectly outfitted with great audio and has all the pretty lighting and all the visuals that one could imagine to make your studio look so pretty and so perfect. I like dealing with the intangibles. I like dealing with the things that you can't control, like a crying baby in the background or someone in the kitchen dropping a pan, because I like reality. I don't want to spend my days dealing with perfection. I try to be as good as I can and make as positive an impact as I can, but I'm not worried about perfection. I want to communicate. I want to get across the things that I believe in, the things that I have a desire for. And I think what we're going to see is in 2026, we're going to see the vlog return. I really believe that. And it's going to be real people doing real stuff, living their lives on camera. And especially in the day and age of AI, there's going to be a desire for reality, for real stuff, to be a counter trend toward that AI. And people are tired of shorts because it's so surface. It's so it's just so silly. Spend any time on TikTok and you just get tired of it. You can only take so much. So people are going to be looking for reality. They're going to be looking for real stories, real depth, real meaning. And I think that's the way we're headed in 2026. So what do you think? Let me know what you think. If you see this later on, leave me a comment. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. What I've been doing with these live streams is I immediately turn them into regular videos. And so that's what I'll be doing today is once I get through here with this live stream, I will save it to YouTube, and then I'll go in and do some editing, cut out some things here and there, not do much, mainly just clean up the intro and make sure everything is sounding halfway decent, and then I'll post it as a regular video, and then the live stream will no longer be available. The live stream will be actually a video. That's the approach I'm taking. So that's what we're doing. Well, let's see how we doing on time. I think we're doing okay. I do want to go back up just real briefly and rejoin Colin and Samir, and because they have so much to teach us. We're going to listen to them for a minute or two, and then we're going to have to call it a day.
As filmmakers or creatives, even when we first started Colin and Samir, which was years and years into YouTube, we didn't ask that question. And we were just like, these are cool videos, right? And actually they were, for us, not necessarily empathetic towards a broader audience or a broader ecosystem of YouTube. And developing that empathy over long periods of time of like, what does it mean to put out a video on this platform is so important. I think you forget to ask that. But when you do ask that and you go, oh, this is for people like me, and what is the value? Okay, the value is I'm teaching them. Okay, great. And we were able to find videos through asking those two questions. Like one of our most viewed videos on the Lacrosse Network at that time was how to shoot a lacrosse ball. Because it was like, oh, who is this for? It's the fastest growing sport. There's a ton of new players. Why would they watch? To learn the most important part of the game. So it's like you can find a lot of ideas through just asking those two really simple questions. And it feels really safe to make that video because it has purpose.
The next question I want to ask, and I really do want to get into the whole reporting on the creator economy, being part of it, because that's really important. I think that's the meat of what we want to talk about today, is you move across the country, you're going to go and work with a guy that you don't know that well, who's been syndicating your content, I think. There's a lot of question marks there, okay? Cool, you did it. I have a hard time agreeing with anybody. How is it that you guys can be working together for 13 years and still agree and still maintain a professional and personal relationship? That is one thing that I always tell people, don't get into a partnership with anybody because it's just so difficult. Mm-hmm. It really is. Because half the time you're explaining why you want to do something versus just doing what it is that you need to do. How do you guys make it work? Because every time I see somebody who's made it work, it's a miracle for me. Feel free to air any dirty laundry if you wish.
I would say for myself creatively, I never really saw myself going down a creative path as a career. Like I took art classes in high school and things like that, and a little bit in college, but I was an economics and Italian major, and like I just didn't see it as a path for myself. And when I started working with Samir, we were getting so many early wins creatively that felt so exciting. And I never felt like I was like deserving of way more. Like everything was like already the icing on top. Taking that, combined with the fact that we truly do share taste a lot. And of course, there are times when we disagree, and then we kind of like start to understand who cares more about having it the way that they see it, right? And then it's like we defer in some times, right?
Yeah.
But just feeling like the creative wins in the career was already like more than I ever thought it would be, made me feel like, wow, if I walked away tomorrow, if all of this went downhill, I'm already so excited about where it's already taken me.
Yeah.
And I felt that way like very early on, and I still feel like that now. That like I would never, I'm very committed to this creative partnership and like where we've taken it and where we want to go. But if for some reason, truly, it like fell apart tomorrow, I really think I would look back on this whole thing and go like, wow, that was so unbelievable and outside the bounds of my expectations.
What about for you? How do you make it work?
I think, we both come from a team sports background, which I think was actually important. And we learned a lot about each other in the first couple years that we not only, we just had like really weirdly similar experiences in like our teenage years. And I think, and college years. And I think that all like really informed both our taste, but also our ability to work together and our ability to share common vernacular and language. Like it's actually really insane how similar we are. And I think that felt very familial early on. And I come from a lineage of family business. And so like my understanding of business was family. And I actually think that can be really detrimental to a lot of businesses to like operate like a family.
Right.
I think, who was it? Reed Hastings who said?
Reed Hastings was talking about Netflix, and he was saying that companies are not families, they're sports teams.
Yeah.
And there's a depth chart. And you can go up and down on the depth chart every year, and you need to know that you're up for renewal.
Yeah.
You can't get out of a family. You can't get like kicked out essentially of a family, right? So he's saying companies shouldn't operate like families. They should be sports teams. You can get traded, you can get dropped.
Now,
Well, that's something to think about. We might have to end it there. I don't know what to think about that, because I always respected these guys who had these huge companies, and they treated their employees like family. I always thought that was kind of cool. Now I know they've got to fire people every once in a while. You got to let people go, but I don't know. Sports teams are awful cutthroat, and I don't know if I could ever run a business that way, like a cutthroat. What about you? I mean, do you see running a business as a sports team or as a family? Well, I know I'm a big follower of Gary Vaynerchuk, and Gary Vaynerchuk often talks about how his biggest weakness was that he treated everyone as family, and that's the way he operates. He operates as his company as a family. But the difficulty comes in when you have to let somebody go. You have to fire somebody because they're not doing the job. It's just not working out. And he always had trouble firing somebody, and he had to work on that because he was so nice and wanted to treat everybody so much like family that he had a hard time getting rid of people and letting them go. But he soon discovered that it's not fair to that person to treat them that way. It's not fair to the person that you're firing. It's not fair to them to not be upfront with them and be honest with them and treat them in such a way as you respect them and you want to do what's best for them, but there is an understanding that they're just not going to work out in your particular business, in your particular job. So it's more of an approach of, you're fired, get out of my office. It's more of, how can I help you find a position that is better suited for you, because you're not going to be able to work here. It doesn't seem to be working here. How can I help you become in another job, become better and be more helpful to you than to stay here and suffer and be under such stress? Maybe you need to go and let me help you find another job somewhere else. Sort of take that sort of approach. So it's an interesting idea. Do you run a business as a sports team or as a family? I'll have to give that some thought. Well, I guess we ought to wrap things up for today. We've been at it at about 35, 40 minutes, and I guess that's enough. The idea here is that for 2026, the vlog is coming back. It's making a resurgence, and I hope you'll be able to go out and make yourself a vlog this next week. Make some content. Make it real. Don't shoot for perfection, but make it real. And it's okay to do a long video. It's okay to make a 30-minute video. That's what people are desiring. TikTok is TikTok. But, come on. There's plenty of people who are desiring something with meaning, something that is much longer and more in depth. And we can provide that for people. We can provide meaning and depth through our artistic creation, through our videos. And so let's go out there and do it. Let's get her done. And I'll see you next week. I'll be back next week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, here from the Austin, Texas area. Unless I move on south, depends on the weather. I'm always on the road, so you never know. But right now I'm in the Austin area, and for right now, I guess I'll stay here for the time being. So we'll see. Depends on the weather. Go out and make it a good day. And I appreciate you being with me. We'll see you tomorrow. We will. We'll see you next week.
And when you ba